Welcome back, deep divers. Today we're going deep into Kyle Chayka's Filterworld.
Filterworld, how algorithms flattened culture. It's a fascinating look at how algorithms are shaping our world.
Yeah, and maybe even, shaping our tastes without us even realizing it.
That's the thing, right? It's so subtle.
So before we get too far, let's break down this Filterworld idea for our listeners. What is Chayka talking about here?
Well, imagine a world where everything's kind of nudged towards a predictable, easily replicable aesthetic. Coffee, clothes, even the music you listen to.
That's Filterworld.
That's Filterworld.
Yeah.
Driven by, well, algorithms. It's like a landscape of sameness.
Okay, so it's not just online. It's like bleeding into the real world.
Oh, absolutely. Think about those, trendy coffee shops. They all have that same minimalist look, exposed brick industrial lighting.
Yeah.
Chayka's argument is that it's algorithms at play. They favor stuff that's easily shareable, visually appealing, the kind of stuff that thrives online.
So it's all about being Instagrammable.
Exactly. And then that spills over into real life, like the Amazon coat phenomenon. Remember that?
Oh yeah, everyone had that coat.
It was perfectly optimized for online shopping, for social media trends, that kind of thing.
So Chayka starts the book with this analogy of the mechanical Turk.
The chess-playing machine from the 1700s?
Right. It seems super sophisticated, beating all these chess masters.
But there was a secret.
There's a human chess master hiding inside, controlling the whole thing. Smoke and mirrors.
And that's Chayka's point about algorithms, right?
Yeah.
They seem sophisticated, objective, but really they're driven by human choices, by design choices, often, geared towards profit.
So we're being manipulated, like those chess players against the Turk.
Well, in a way, yeah. We're constantly being fed stuff that's designed to keep us scrolling, clicking, engaged. He calls it stream bait.
Stream bait.
Like those catchy TikTok videos,
Yeah.
Instagram reels, the kind of stuff that's so digestible you end up watching for hours.
It's true. It's true.
It's not that they're bad. It's just they often kind of crowd out more challenging, unique stuff that might not be as algorithm friendly.
That makes me think about social media feeds and how they've evolved. Like, remember when they were chronological?
You'd see posts in the order they were posted. Yeah.
Now it's all algorithms deciding what we see first.
Prioritizing content based on engagement, not necessarily what's actually, important or meaningful to us.
That's that algorithmic anxiety Chayka talks about, right?
Yeah.
That feeling of being manipulated by these forces we don't get.
Exactly. And it's not just the content, it's our choices too. That example in the book about Airbnb.
People trying to game the algorithm to get their listings seen.
Yeah. Refreshing listings. Strategically liking properties. Changing prices based on what they think the algorithm will like.
Wow.
And then there's Instagram, that pressure to like stuff just because it keeps showing up.
Oh, I feel that. It's like the algorithm's telling me what I should like.
Right. And that brings up a big question. How much of our taste is really our own, and how much is shaped by these algorithms?
That's what we need to figure out. But first, let's talk about this contrast Chayka makes between traditional tastemakers and these new algorithmic ones. What's the difference?
Well, in the past, tastemakers were people like booksellers, curators, DJs, people with expertise, they guided our choices.
Introduced us to new stuff.
Exactly. Their recommendations were based on knowledge, on passion, a genuine desire to share.
Like that old record store where the owner knew your taste?
Exactly. Or a museum curator creating a thought-provoking exhibit. Those experiences feel rarer now.
Because of algorithms.
And that's Chayka's argument. Algorithms, they tend to favor a more generic aesthetic, something easily digestible. Not that they're bad, it's just they want to appeal to everyone, which can lead to this flattening of culture.
Okay, so give me a real-world example of that. How's this algorithmic taste-making playing out?
Let's compare buying a book on Amazon versus, say, browsing at an independent bookstore like McNally Jackson.
Okay, I'm listening.
On Amazon, you're bombarded with recommendations based on what you've bought before. Personalized, but limiting.
Like, you like this, you'll like more of the same.
Right. Now, picture McNally Jackson. The store's curated by staff who know books, who are passionate about them. They create displays, highlight new authors, overlooked classics.
It's like a conversation versus a data point.
And that's key. Chayka emphasizes that human curation is vital for a diverse cultural landscape. It allows for discovery, surprise.
So how do we find these tastemakers, these human curators, in this world of algorithms?
Well, that's something we'll dig into next time, along with Chayka's suggestions for breaking free from Filterworld and reclaiming our own taste. It's interesting how Chayka looks at influencers, right? He traces them back way further than you might
Oh,
think.
yeah. Like to win.
Well, he starts with like Lily Langtry. She was endorsing Paris soap back in the 1880s. And then Andy Warhol with all his self-promotion.
So influencers aren't a new thing. It's just the methods that have changed.
Exactly. But the scale too, right, with social media. But what's interesting is how they operate within this filter world idea.
Yeah. How so?
They're masters at leveraging algorithms, building these personal brands. It's like this blurry line between like genuine self-expression and, marketing.
Like it all feels so manufactured sometimes, like they're products themselves.
Totally. And that raises the question of authenticity in filter world. Are they really being themselves or just reflecting what the algorithm wants?
It's like, are they actually individuals or just, products of the algorithm?
Right. And then you have these virtual influencers like Lim McKella.
Oh, yeah, the computer-generated one.
Totally. They're like the embodiment of that generic aesthetic, flawless, aspirational.
It's like Filterworld personified.
Exactly. So it all feels a bit, overwhelming.
It does. Like, are we stuck in Filterworld? Is there any way out of this?
Well, Chayka doesn't think we're doomed. He actually offers some surprisingly practical solutions.
Okay, I'm all ears. What can we do?
One thing he talks about is an algorithm cleanse.
A what?
An algorithm cleanse, like a detox, but for your cultural palate.
So, like, step away from the digital world, rediscover real-life experiences.
Exactly. Intentionally seeking out stuff that challenges you, expands your horizons.
What did Chayka do during his cleanse?
He spent time in nature, went to independent bookstores and art galleries, listened to, human-curated radio shows, things like that.
So, like, slowing down, being more mindful about how we consume culture.
And it's not about rejecting technology entirely. He suggests things like turning off personalized recommendations.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or, opting for chronological feeds, setting time limits for social media.
So, like, taking back control. We don't have to be passive, consumers of the algorithm.
Right. And being more critical, too. Questioning sources, recognizing bias. Popularity doesn't equal quality.
So becoming more aware, more intentional.
Exactly. And Chayka, he spends a lot of time talking about human curation.
Oh, yeah, those tastemakers we were discussing.
Right. He argues that supporting them, the booksellers, DJs, curators, is crucial for preserving a diverse culture.
Because they bring something algorithms can't.
Exactly. Knowledge, passion, expertise. It's like they're guides, helping us navigate the sea of content.
It's that personal touch, that connection that's missing with algorithms.
He uses this example of a radio show hosted by WFUV DJ Paul Cavalcante.
Okay, what's special about this DJ?
Well, he's like a master. He blends tracks from different genres, eras. It's like a musical journey, surprising and personal.
Not like those algorithm-driven playlists you get on Spotify.
Exactly. It's that human touch, that ability to connect on an emotional level and guide us towards new discoveries. That's what Chayka's getting at.
So finding these tastemakers, it's like a treasure hunt almost.
In a way, yeah. And that's something we'll talk more about next time, when we explore Chayka's recommendations for breaking free from Filterworld.
Okay, so we're ready to, like, ditch the algorithm and reclaim our taste buds. Where do we even start? You mentioned Chayka has some ideas.
He does, yeah. And some of them, they might surprise you. It's not about, like, going off the grid completely.
No tech at all.
No. It's more about, being intentional with our choices, shifting our relationship with tech, you could say.
Okay, so how do we do that? Give me step one.
Well, a good place to start, is supporting platforms and businesses that prioritize human curation over those algorithms.
Like what kind of platforms?
Remember we talked about the Criterion Collection for film, and then there's Adagio for classical music.
Right, those are like those curated spaces,
Yeah.
A nice alternative to the big streaming giants.
Exactly. By choosing to, support those platforms, we're kind of saying we value quality over quantity, human expertise over data.
Like casting a vote for a more human-centered digital world.
That's a good way to put it, yeah. And even within those platforms that, rely on algorithms, there's still things we can do.
Oh, like what?
Chayka suggests, maybe experiment with turning off those personalized recommendations.
Oh, yeah, good idea.
Choosing chronological feeds instead of the the algorithm-sorted ones, even setting time limits for social media.
So basically taking control. Like you said, we don't have to be, slaves to the algorithm.
Exactly. It's about, recognizing we have more agency than we think, and being more critical, too, of course.
How?
Question the sources you see online. Remember, just because something's popular doesn't mean it's good. Be open to challenging your own assumptions. Seek out different perspectives.
So being more aware, basically.
Yeah, like a cultural detective,
Yeah.
peeling back those layers of algorithmic influence.
And of course, there are those human curators we talked about.
The booksellers, the DJs, the museum curators,
Yeah.
don't forget about them. They can really help you, navigate the sea of content, deepen your appreciation for things.
So don't just rely on the algorithm.
Yeah,
Actually talk to those people, get their recommendations.
exactly. Remember, human connection, shared passion, those are important parts of the experience.
They add that richness, that depth.
Right. And Chayka, he ends the book with this really interesting observation. He says, our obsession with predicting what we like, it might actually be making true discovery rarer.
That's deep.
It is, yeah. Like, if algorithms are designed to keep us in our comfort zones,
Yeah.
are we missing out on the unknown, the unexpected?
Missing out on that feeling of discovering something truly new.
Exactly. And that sense of wonder, that's something worth fighting for.
So for everyone listening, feeling a little overwhelmed by all this, the algorithms, the homogenization of culture, the constant scrolling.
It can feel like a lot.
It can, but there's hope.
Yeah.
We can break free from Filterworld. It starts with being mindful, supporting those human curators, and, staying curious.
The world beyond the feed, it's vast. There's so much to discover out there.
Well said. And that wraps up our deep dive into Filterworld. Thanks for joining us on this journey of algorithmic awakening.
Ah.
I like that.
Check out the show notes for links to those resources we mentioned. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those brains buzzing.